Awesome. So it's 12 p.m. by my time, and I'd like to say a very big good afternoon to our dearest shareholders and everyone joining us both here on Zoom and on YouTube. This is the first edition of our shareholder engagement series, proudly sponsored by Shareholder Live, one of many of our digital solutions which is specifically designed for you, our shareholders, to seamlessly manage your portfolio. My name is Sandra Igagarimo. I head the innovations team here at Coronation Registrars, and I'm excited to be on this insightful and educative journey with you as we aim to be as granular as possible with this series. Speaking on topics that would span from how dividends impact your wealth creation journey, both today and in subsequent series. The first edition of this series has been titled The Role of Dividend in Your Portfolio, and we look to explore the benefits and importance of dividend and provide actionable insights on how to optimize your dividend, amongst others, in the next 2 hours. Again, this series is sponsored by Shareholder Live, and Shareholder Live is available as a mobile application. You can download it from your Apple Store for iPhone users and Google Play Store for Android users. Shareholder Live is also available via the web. Just go to shareholderlive.coronationregistrars.com. You can register easily using the email you used in purchasing your shares and selecting the company you bought the shares from. Before I introduce the CEO of Coronation Registrars to give his opening address, just a few housekeeping items. And the first is that this webinar is being recorded. Don't forget that. And you have the opportunity to ask your questions using the Q&A feature. Please use the Q&A feature so we can see and answer your questions accordingly. Right, we would like to take some of these questions here during the panel session. We will be answering your questions in the chat. So thank you for cooperating with us. At this junction, I would like to invite the CEO of Coronation Registrars, Mr. Olurotimi Aleshinloye, to give his welcome remarks. You can have the stage, sir.
Thank you, Sandra. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, esteemed shareholders, partners, and my dear colleagues. My name is Rotimi Aleshinloye, and by God's grace, I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Coronation Registrars Limited. I would like to thank you all for accepting our invitation and taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today for the first of our shareholders engagement series themed The Role of Dividends in Your Portfolio. At Coronation Registrars Limited, we are passionate and committed to delivering exceptional service to you, our shareholders. We are also advocates of thought leadership and continuous learning. This is why we have launched this engagement series, to provide a platform for you, shareholders and partners alike, to have your questions answered, to gain valuable insights into best investment practices and the digital solutions Coronation have created and curated to help you achieve your financial and investment goals. Today's webinar, sponsored by Shareholder Live by Coronation, will delve into the significance of dividends in your investment portfolios, explore the benefits and impact of dividend cash flows, also explore the types and effective investment strategies to optimize your portfolio. Our goal is to educate and rub minds with our shareholders on the importance of dividends, the impact, benefits, as well as provide actionable insights on how to optimize dividend investments and reinvestments. Throughout this session, we will explore the core topic of dividends in your portfolio and how our platform can help manage investment portfolios. We have assembled a distinguished lineup of speakers today who will bring their extensive knowledge and expertise in the registrars and data management business as well as share their insights on this topic with us today. Our speakers include Augustina Obi. Augustina Obi is our Head of Registrar Services at Coronation. She will be joined by Oroluwa Oyinloye, who is a leader within the operations business unit at Coronation Registrars. Femi O'Neill will also join the panel. Is a team lead within our risk management and internal control business unit. And lastly, but not the least, is Jonathan Abel, who is also a business leader within our investor services business unit. They will all provide answers to any inquiries and questions you may have relating to dividends collection, cash flow management, reducing volatility, inflation protection mechanisms, and overall provide strategies to guide you on generating long-term wealth creation. As a shareholder looking to advance your financial journey, this webinar will provide guidance on how to incorporate dividend reinvestment into your portfolio, as well as include dividend investment goals, selection of dividend stocks, and building a diversified investment portfolio overall. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you, each and every one of you, for joining us today. Your presence makes all the difference for us, and we are happy that we are a part of helping you build your financial goals. I hope you find today's discussions insightful, immersive, as well as engaging. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for throwing more light on the flow of today's session and the reason why we are gathered here today, fully backed and sponsored by Shareholder Live. As we proceed further without wasting much time, I would like to invite the keynote speaker in the person of Augustina Obi, our head of registrar services here at Coronation, to take the stage and share some wisdom with us on the topic of discussion today, which is the role of dividends in your portfolio. Augustina, please.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Good afternoon, esteemed shareholders. My name is Augustina Obi, and I head the Registrar Services Unit here in Coronation Registrars Limited. It is indeed an honor to be with you today, as I'm excited to share with you insights on this interesting topic, the role of dividends in your portfolio. This topic is not just important to your investment strategy, but also critical in shaping your economic future. So whether you are a seasoned investor or you are just beginning to explore the world of dividends, this discussion would equip you with valuable insights on how dividends can enhance your portfolio stability and growth. Once again, I welcome you to this webinar. Please give me some seconds to share my screen. Thank you. Just give me some seconds, please.
So while Augustina shares a screen, again, this shareholder engagement series is brought to you by Shareholder Live. If you don't know what Shareholder Live is our application for you as a shareholder to manage your portfolio, to see and track your investments, and do many other amazing things on the platform. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you can access the platform via web. Just go to shareholderlive.coronationregistrars.com. You can also access it via your mobile by going to the Apple Store for iPhone users and the Google Play Store for Android users to download the application today. Augustina, please, you can proceed.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I believe we can all see my screen now.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So like I earlier mentioned, dividends play a very crucial role in enhancing the stability and growth of your investment portfolio, and understanding their impact can actually help us to make more informed financial decisions. If you are hoping to build a strong investment portfolio, you would require a strategic mix of financial principles and disciplined practices. What is dividend? Dividends are a portion of a company's earnings that are distributed to shareholders, typically in the form of cash payments or additional shares. I am very sure that a lot of us on this call this afternoon is familiar with the word dividend. And I'm also very sure that we have received dividend payments from our paying companies at one point or the other. So it is nothing very new to most of us on this call. However, I would like to state that dividend distribution is also a tangible reward for your trust in the company's ability to generate profits and sustain growth. Unlike capital gains, which are realized only when you sell your shares at a higher price than you purchased them, dividends, on the other side, provides a more immediate and consistent return on your investment. Dividend is a passive income, which is what makes them very attractive as a feature on any investment portfolio. Also, company dividends is decided by the company's board of directors, which would require shareholders' approval at annual general meetings. However, it is important to note that dividend payment is not compulsory, so ability to pay dividends to shareholders is at the discretion of the company. We have several types of dividends, but in the context of this webinar, we would like to discuss cash dividend and scrip dividend. Cash dividend, which is what most of us are familiar with, shareholders receive cash, while for scrip dividend, depending on the company dividend policy, the companies create share option for shareholders in place of cash dividend. A typical example of scrip dividend is just the recently concluded scrip dividend distribution of MTN Nigeria Communications PLC for year 2023, where shareholders were given the option of choosing either cash dividend or additional shares added to their existing portfolio. Dividends play a lot of important roles in our portfolio, and the first on my list is steady income stream. Dividends provide a regular source of income, which can be valuable in times of market volatility. This means that companies that pay regular dividends to their shareholders enable their shareholders to receive regular source of income, which they can use to meet personal financial needs. On compounding growth, shareholders can take advantage of compounding growth by reinvesting their dividends. So instead of spending the dividend that you have received from your company, you might as well reinvest by buying more shares at no additional cost. And when you buy more shares of the company, in turn, it generates more dividends and also accelerate portfolio growth for you. Indicator of financial health. Companies that pay consistent dividend is an indicator of strong financial health, meaning that when you pay dividend as a company or when companies pay dividend, it shows to the public that you are healthy financially and investors are more prone to invest in your stocks. Inflation hedge. So as cash payout increases, it helps to cushion the effect of inflation. Companies that pay consistent dividend as well, looking at lower volatility, stock prices of companies that pay dividend are less volatile than non-paying stocks. You would also agree with me that taxes on dividends are lower when compared to regular income taxes. So these are several roles that dividends play in our investment portfolio. Why do companies pay dividend, you may ask? There are several reasons why companies may decide to pay dividend. On top of my list is the companies pay dividend to reward shareholders, like I earlier mentioned, and also enhance shareholder value. Dividend is one of the ways companies reward shareholders for their investment. When a company pays the dividend, it returns a portion of its profit directly to shareholders, thereby providing them with a tangible return on their investments. So this goes to say that companies make profits And of course, they would want to reward their shareholders for trusting them and believing in their businesses by paying them dividends. So this is one of the reasons why companies pay dividend, just to remain committed to demonstrating commitment to sharing profits with investors. Another reason why companies pay dividends is to show financial health and stability. Dividends can signal a company's confidence in its ongoing profitability and financial stability. Therefore, by paying regular dividend, a company indicates to the public or to the market that it has sufficient earnings and cash flow to meet its operational needs. This also is a signal or signals to the public that these companies are healthy financially, and it can boost confidence and thereby increase the company's stock price. Again, companies pay dividends to attract and retain investors. Dividends can help attract and retain a particular set of investors, especially investors who are looking for steady source of income, such as institutional investors or pension funds. So by paying regular dividends, companies are able to retain this set of investors, and as well as companies are able to retain this particular set of investors, and investors also benefit by having a steady cash flow to their portfolio. There are some factors that impact companies' decision to pay dividends. So when companies decide to pay dividends, it's important to note that something would have necessitated that. So one of the reasons or one of the factors why companies decide to pay dividend is profitability and earning stability. One of the primary factors influencing a company's decision to pay dividend is this profitability and stability of its earning. Meaning that when companies are stable and have predictable earnings, they are more likely to pay regular dividends to their shareholders. Then, in comparison to companies with fluctuating profits, it may not be okay, or it might not be ideal for them to pay dividends because their profits are not steady, it's fluctuating. So it's either they pay smaller dividend or more consecutive dividend just to avoid the risk of cutting them in the future. Another very important factor that impacts companies' decision to pay dividend is cash flow and liquidity. Availability of sufficient cash flow is critical to companies' ability to pay dividends. So even if a company is profitable, it must have enough liquid cash to pay out dividends. This means that even if I make profit as a company, right, and I don't have enough cash flow, I will not be able to pay out dividends to my shareholders. While some companies, they make profits, and as well they have enough liquid cash to pay out dividends to shareholders. So this is one of the factors affecting companies' decision to pay dividends to shareholders. Another one is debt level and leverage ratios. A company's debt level and its ability to service that debt is a very crucial consideration in dividend decision. So if as a company my debt level is very high, and at the end of the year I've made some profits, my focus would be on using that profit that I've made, right? My focus would be on using it to pay off whatever debt I have. I would not be thinking of paying dividends to shareholders, because paying off the debt that I have would lower the financial risks for me as a company and also improve credit rating. So while companies with low debt rates or strong balance sheets would have a better flexibility to pay or even increase dividends for shareholders. In this webinar today, we would like to share some practical insights for building your investment portfolio. We have identified four practical insights. We'll be looking at dividend yield versus dividend growth. So when trying to invest or when making a decision to invest, it's important that you consider these four factors and even more. When selecting dividend paying stocks, consider both the dividend yield and the dividend growth. While high yields are very attractive, they may also signal risk if not supported by earnings growth. So it is very important to observe the company that you have chosen to invest in, observe the dividend yield versus the dividend growth of the company to see if there is a balance between both. It's very important that there is a balance between both to enable you achieve a long-term capital appreciation. Diversification is a very important insights that would help us as investors to build our investment portfolio. So, building a diversified portfolio of dividend paying stocks across dividend sectors and regions can help to reduce risk. What this means is that instead of focusing on a particular asset class or a particular sector for investment, it would be nice to diversify your investment. It would help to reduce risk and not carry the risk of investing everything in one asset class, for example, or in a particular sector. Let's say, for instance, you like to invest in the banking sector. No, it's not very okay. It would be nice to diversify. You can do banking sector and also health sector and some other sectors. Likewise, asset classes. You can invest in stocks. You can invest in mutual funds, bonds, and real estate and the rest. So diversification is very important in building your investment portfolio. Another interesting factor is dividend reinvestment plans. I cannot overemphasize this particular one because when you are looking for a long-term investment, right, you may need to consider enrolling in dividend reinvestment plan offered by companies or through your brokers. This plan allows you to reinvest dividends, and by reinvesting your dividend, what it means is that you are purchasing more shares of your company at no cost or without additional cost, which most times comes with little or no commission at all. So that is a very efficient way to grow your investment over time. Then you may need to evaluate your dividend. If sorry, you may need to evaluate the company's dividend sustainability. Pay attention to a company's payout ratio, which indicates the proportion of earnings paid as dividend. A payout ratio above 60% may be unsustainable. And what this means is that if a company pays out 60% or above 60% of its profit to shareholders as dividend, yes, it's good, or it may look good at the moment, but in the future, due to economic recession or some financial challenges, it may not be sustainable. And when it's no longer sustainable, it leads to dividend cuts or total suspension of dividend payouts. So please, when trying to make decisions on your investment portfolios, it will be good to look out for companies with history of maintaining and increasing dividends backed by strong earnings and cash flow. This will go a long way to help you build a strong investment portfolio. Okay, these are important dates that impact dividend payments. So while you are looking at investing in dividend paying stocks, it would also be nice that you are well acquainted with these dates. We have declaration dates. Declaration date is the date that the board of directors announces and approves the payment of dividends, right? And this declaration includes the size of the dividends being issued and outlines the qualification and payment dates. Another date here is qualification date, which I believe most of us are very much familiar with. This is a cutoff date used to determine which shareholders are eligible to receive corporate dividend. What this is speaking to is that when a company sets its qualification date, it means that if you buy shares on that particular date, automatically you are qualified to receive dividends of that company. So it's a very critical and very important date while trying to invest in a company stock. Ex-dividend date or closure date. This is actually the first date, or rather the first day that a stock trades without a dividend. An example is this. If, for instance, the company says 29th of August 2024 is the qualification date for dividend payment, right? It then means that tomorrow, being Friday, 30th of August, would be the ex-dividend date. And what that means is that if I purchase stock tomorrow, 30th of August, automatically I would not be entitled to receive the company's dividend. So it's very important to note these dates so that you are well informed when you are making your investment decisions. Payment date, of course, we are also familiar with this. This is the date on which dividends are paid to shareholders. Dividend payments are made electronically to the bank accounts of shareholders. Okay, so for us to be able to receive our dividends without delays, There are steps to follow to ensure prompt receipt of dividends. Number one on the list would be to identify the company registrar. So if you have invested in a particular company, you may need to find out who manages the shareholder records of the company. That's the registrar I mean here. This information is readily available on the company's website or in their annual reports. A very important step to take would be to complete your electronic mandate form. These forms are readily available on the registrar's website. For Coronation Registrar website, you may need to go to this website on the screen to fill out this electronic mandate. You may also visit the NIP self-service link on SEC website to be able to fill out the electronic mandate form to submit to the registrar and ensure all your information are accurate to avoid delays in payment. Follow the registrar's instructions to submit your forms, either online, by email, or in person. Confirm with the registrar that your information is well updated. Then, if you have made any changes in your bank details, it is very important that you notify the registrar to your company. And in notifying the registrar to your company, you may need to fill out a new mandate form with your updated bank details. This is very necessary and important so that you avoid, you avoid interruptions in payments or delays in payments. You would also need to check your company's announcement for dividend dates, review your bank statements to ensure payments are received, contact the registrars to your company if you have any delay in receipt of your dividends or if there are any discrepancies. Then we look at engagement with company communications. It is very vital for shareholders or for investors to attend annual general meetings of their company. When you attend annual general meetings of your companies, it gives you the opportunity to meet with the management of your company, to ask questions, to find out how the company is doing financially or how the financial health of the company is. You would also be getting first-hand feedbacks on all of your questions. So it's also important to stay well informed by attending webinars on dividend policies and company performances. So I encourage us to sign up for newsletters or alerts to be able to receive updates on dividends. While putting up this webinar, we considered dividend strategies for different life stages, and we would like to say that we have three different life stages that we have looked into this afternoon. We'll be looking at young investors, mid-career investors, and retirees. So, as a young investor, typically you may like to focus on growth. And when you focus on growth, it means that you are investing for long-term investment, right? So when you are looking out for companies to invest, you look out for companies who are likely to increase their dividends over time because you are focusing on long-term growth. Dividend reinvestment, again, it's another thing to consider when, as a young investor. It would help you to compound returns on your investment. For a mid-career investor, balance growth and income is very important. So it would then mean that you would need to combine your dividend growth stocks with high yield stocks to achieve a balance of risk and as well as rewards. Diversification, again, is a very important factor to consider. Spread your investments across different sectors, across different asset classes to enable you stabilize returns and as well reduce risk. For retirees, it's very likely that you would like to focus on income stability, that is to say, steady income. So, in doing that, you would have to invest in high yield, low volatility stocks for reliable income, and you would also need to diversify your income. You can do bonds, you can do stocks, you can do mutual funds, whatever you need to bring in on board in your investment portfolio just to help you achieve a balance and also help you to achieve reliable and steady income. In summary, I think you may need to choose your investment based on whether you want to prioritize growth, income, or a mix of both. So it must have to align with whatever goals you have set for yourself. Update your strategy based on changes in the markets and your financial institution. Above all, speak to your portfolio managers or investment advisors. You may likely not do without those two, so you may need to contact them to guide you properly on how to go about all of this. Here we have some common myths about dividends. So I'll be taking about three of them as I've outlined on my slide. One of the myths says that dividends are only for retirees. The reality is that dividend benefits all investors, right? And in benefiting all investors, you would have to do some things like diversification. You need to compound your growth by reinvesting and also have a strategic use of your wealth and manage market volatility. Another myth is high yields equals better investments. Reality is that chasing high yields can be very risky. As earlier mentioned, high yields are good, but they can also signal financial trouble or potential dividend cuts or even suspension. So it's very important to evaluate the yield. If the yield is supported by strong financials, very important before you venture into such. So consider both dividend income and potential capital appreciation. That's total returns. The last myth I have here is that dividends are guaranteed returns. Reality is that dividends are not guaranteed. I know I earlier mentioned it when I started my presentation. Dividends are not guaranteed. Companies have some factors that impact their dividend payout decision. So a company can be paying dividend today, but due to one reason or the other tomorrow, they may not be able to continue. They may either have a cut out of dividend, a reduction in the number of dividends they pay, or they stop paying automatically. So it is not automatic or it is not compulsory that dividends must be paid by the company. So it's important to do your due diligence by accessing a company's ability to maintain dividends, such by reviewing its financial health. It's a very, very, very important thing to consider. We have a case study of a company here, Dangote Cement PLC. We have identified Dangote Cement PLC. We reviewed its 5-year dividend history and we found out that Dangote Cement PLC is not just a consistent dividend paying company, but also has increased its annual dividend per share regularly. In fact, it has increased its dividend payouts for every 2 years. Looking at the graph here, we can see the sequence of the dividend payout growth, right? So the dividend per share had grown by 88% and 50% in the last 5 years and 1 year, respectively. This means that when you are making your investment decision, you should look at companies such as Dangote Cement PLC, who has not just demonstrated ability to retain or to make profits, also as well as they have also shown that or they have demonstrated ability to increase dividend payouts to their shareholders. So this is an example of a company to look out for while trying to make your investment plans or decisions. We have some key takeaways from the discussions for today. Like I earlier said, most of the things here I had mentioned before, but we would need to emphasize on them again. So dividends are cash payments made from a company to its shareholders based on the company's profits. If a company does not pay dividend, it doesn't mean they are not doing well. It could mean that they have chosen to reinvest the earnings into new projects or acquisitions. Even when they have made a decision to do this, it's also to the benefits of the shareholders in the long run. A company often chooses to start paying dividend when its growth rate has slowed. It's also a sign that a company is healthy enough to ensure that its investors receive steady payments. Then once a company starts paying dividend, it is very unlikely that they would stop. Lastly, dividends are a good way to give an investment portfolio additional stability since the periodical cash payments are likely to continue over time. In conclusion, we would like to emphasize again that dividends play a crucial role in enhancing the stability and growth of your investment portfolio. So you would need to have a deep understanding on how to effectively incorporate dividend. You can build a resilient portfolio that meets your financial objectives, whether you are seeking income, growth, or a mix of both. As shareholders, your decision today will shape your financial future. So I encourage you to continually educate yourselves on the evolving market trends and how dividends can fit into your broader investment strategy. Thank you so much for listening. We would like to take your feedback and your questions. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Augustina. Like that was really very, very informative. And from my end, I know that I've heard a lot. I know that I would have to do my research before investing in any company to know how their dividend yields are. And I hope that we have all been able to understand some key points about the role of dividends in our portfolios. And for those that are still wondering how granular we intend to go with this series, I like to break it down to say dividend is money, your money as an investor. So claim it, reinvest it, do what you want with it. And we are here to guide you and assist you every step of the way as your very own registrar. So don't forget to type your questions in the Q&A box. We will get to them as we proceed. I see some people raising their hands. Please type your questions in the Q&A box and we would answer them accordingly. So again, thank you, Augustina. This was really, really insightful. I myself learned a lot. As we would like to delve into the other session of this webinar, joining Augustina Obi in this panel session, we have Oroluwa Oyinloye, who is our team lead, Central Processing Center here at Coronation Registrar. As one of the panelists, we also have Femi Oni, the team lead, Risk and Internal Control, and we have Jonathan Abel, team lead, Investor Services, joining Augustina on this panel session. But before I proceed, I would like to inform us again that this webinar is sponsored by Shareholder Live, and Shareholder Live is an application designed for you as a shareholders to manage your portfolio. Now, so let's get the ball rolling. I'm sure that everyone is here and ready to kick this session off. We will take questions from the Q&A while we have been answering some of these questions. We would also take them during this panel session. So don't be scared. We are here for you. Now, so to keep this ball rolling, I would like to start with Femi. Hi, Femi.
Sandra, I can hear you.
All right.
Yes.
Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just to start with you, just a simple, because of I know how long you've been managing the risk of everything that has to do with our shareholding. What are the potential downsides of relying too heavily on dividend income, and how can shareholders mitigate this risk? I mean, they're listening, so they would like to know some of these things from your own wealth of experience as the risk and internal control lead here.
Okay, Sandra, thank you so much. I think relying too heavily on dividend income has several potential downsides. So, but because of our time, we'll just be looking at three of them. One will be dividend cut or suspensions, and another one would be lack of diversification, and the third one that we'll be looking at will be the inflation risk. So, company may reduce or suspend dividend payment due to financial difficulties, economic downturns, or strategic shifts. So this could be a shift in dividend policy. So you agree with me that during economic downturns or period of reduced profitability, many companies may decide to cut dividends to conserve cash. So there was a report in Premium Times in December 2021, which states that 51 Nigeria listed companies failed to pay dividend in at least 5 years. So, and I think you're also familiar with the recent event that happened due to the effect of the federal government SAG policy on the earnings of some companies, which made them not to declare dividend in 2024. So while relying on your dividend as your source of income, so you should consider this downside. So another downside that I mentioned that we also could be looking at is the lack of diversification. So you as a shareholder, or as an investor, if you rely heavily on your dividend paying stock, it could lead to a lack of diversification. So for instance, an investor is concentrating in a few sectors that are known for high dividend payment. So let's say, for instance, you focus on the banking sector. So if there is a financial crisis, such a portfolio could be exposed to specific sector-specific risk. So that's why it is advisable for you to consider this as well, so that at the end of the day, the impact of that such financial crisis will not be heavy on your portfolio. So another one we also be talking about that I mentioned before is inflation risk. So we all know that dividend do not always keep pace with inflation. So meaning that the dividend that a company pays or company in your portfolio pays you, your purchasing power, the purchasing power of that income could diminish over time. So, and Nigeria is an example where we have the case of high inflation just only in 2024. So maybe for those of us who have been following the report from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, you will see that in January, the inflation rate stood at 29.9%. So, and rising to 34.19 in June. So if you look at it, the percentage change there will be like around maybe 14%. So, and but in July, this reduced a bit just by 0.79 percentage point to 33.40. So look at it. So how many companies would have increased their dividend by that amount just in 2024? So maybe this is when I want to bring us to, okay, what are the mitigation strategies that a shareholder can take in order for them to reduce the impact of this downside on their portfolio. So the first one will be for you to diversify. I think Augustina also mentioned that in our presentation. So as a shareholder, it's good for you to diversify your portfolio across various asset classes, sectors, geographic region, for you to reduce your reliance on dividend income alone. So you can look at a mix of securities, maybe look at bonds, growth stock, real estate, and other. Just for all this, we have to balance your income and also growth potential, and it will reduce the overall risks on your investment portfolio. So another area that you also want to consider will be for you to reinvest your dividends. So she also mentioned that, so it's good to consider reinvesting dividend to purchase more shares rather than just relying on them solely for living expenses. So look for a company that pay dividend, and also you try to invest in. And also, this can also help you to hedge against inflation, so that the company grow its dividend. So, and you also invest in them, so you enjoy compounding growth, and you will still be able to maintain your living standard with that. So another area that I also want to focus on may just be quality and sustainability. I mentioned earlier, it's always good to follow a company with a strong track record of sustainable dividend payments. She mentioned Dangote. I think Dangote would be a company that you also want to consider your investment portfolio. So you look at the company, you look at how robust their financial health is. They look at how consistent are they when it comes to earning, and also want to look at the payout ratios as well. So that's that on the quality and sustainability. So the last point I want to make that you can use for you to mitigate the downside from relying on a dividend payment will be for you to stay informed. So you find it difficult to manage your portfolio if you are not informed about the happenings in the country in your portfolio. So keep abreast of the companies in which you have investment in. You can get their financial statement, review it, monitor news and economic trend that could affect the company performance and dividend policy. Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, diversification and all the points that you made. I think you just reiterated what Augustina mentioned, and I mean, it's really good to understand where you're going to invest in before you even begin your investment. Thank you so much, Femi. I'd like to take Jonathan next. I mean, you have been engaging with the shareholders. Just from your experience engaging shareholders, what are the common questions they ask about dividends, and can you advise the audience with answers to this question? I've seen some in the Q&A already. I think after you finish, I would touch on those questions if they are not answered, so we can just, keep it going. So, what are the common questions they ask about dividends, and can you advise answers to these questions?
All right, thank you very much, Sandra. Right, so you have rightly stated it. From experience, right, we have common questions that shareholders usually inquire from our contact center and via email. So we've done like an analysis of data to get a holistic analysis of their responses, right? So we have questions, common questions that shareholders always try to inquire, which revolve around understanding their dividend history, assessing it, and then seeking about their investments. Right. So shareholders often ask, how can I see the dividends I've actually received over the years? They want to know how many, the dividends they've seen. They want to see their statements, right? Or is my investment really yielding returns? Okay, so to address these concerns, what we always advise our shareholders is to regularly check on their dividend history. Fortunately, on the Shareholder Live by Coronation, which is a digital platform where you can actually access this information as a shareholder. Once you have your email address registered on our platform, you can easily log into the Shareholder Live by Coronation to view your detailed record of your dividend payouts. This will give shareholders a clear picture of the returns on their investments, which is currently generating. Another frequent query is around receiving investment tips, right? Many shareholders are keen to optimize their portfolios, but may not have access to the right guidance, right? So we precisely, it's precisely this kind of inquiries that inspired an initiative where we've created the Shareholder Life platform by Coronation, and then why we're even having this webinar series, right, to have engagements with shareholders so that they can actually tell us where their inquiries are. And then our goal is to provide an educational support content, right, which is what we are having now to empower shareholders to make informed decisions, as earlier stated by Tina and also Femi. Right. So our goal is to provide these contents. Shareholders want to make informed decisions, so we help them to build a robust portfolio, right, and ultimately create wealth. Then lastly, shareholders also want to ask about their dividend payment dates, right? They want to know when they will get payments and how we communicate, the information to them. Now, what we do at Coronation Registrars is to ensure that all shareholders are kept in the loop, right? We send out timely communications via emails as well as SMS. So when we have upcoming AGMs, right, we send out emails about AGMs that are upcoming to shareholders. We also send out emails about upcoming dividend payments so that shareholders can be informed and can be updated as well. So to ensure you don't miss out on any of these important communications we normally share out, I highly recommend keeping your contact information up to date on our self-service platform. You can go on our self-service platform and actually click on update my contact information. And with so doing, you'll be able to get regular updates. So I'll pause here for now.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for that. And again, like he mentioned, you can always reach out to us. Our contact details will be displayed at the end of this session, but you can always reach out to us via our customer experience email. So let's move over to you, Uri. I know that people are saying I'm not getting paid. I don't know what's going on with I can't see my unclaimed my dividend. I bought shares at so time, but then I don't know what's happening with the dividend and all that. I have not received it. So if a shareholder doesn't receive their dividend when it's paid, what are the possible reasons from your own experience of being involved in dividend payment process over the years? And what would you advise them to do in each instance to resolve them?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Sandra. So we have several reasons why shareholders do not receive their dividend. I will make it as brief as possible. That's several reasons. So, for instance, we have incorrect bank details, and this is an instance where a shareholder fills a wrong bank digit on the mandate form. In this case, an instance where a shareholder is supposed to fill out a 6, but probably filled out a 1. In this instance, the shareholder due to the wrong bank details that has been filled out on the e-mandate form. Another reason why shareholders do not get their dividends when they are being paid, these are also known as inactive accounts. If you recall, Heritage Bank was just shut down, and in this instance, some shareholders who have existing accounts on our database have they no longer will not be able to get this dividend. So in this case, what do? We had to reach out to these shareholders to provide us with their alternate bank details so that we'll be able to pay them their unclaimed, so be able to pay them their dividend. Lastly, we have the category of where we have the name mismatch. So in an instance where a shareholder completed, probably gave us the bank details of Abisola, and the name that we have on our own register is Salamot Adisa. At the point of us making this payment, these names would not validate because they are different names. So based on this, the dividend would come back to us as unpaid because of the difference in names. So what do we typically do to these categories of people? We reach out to them to provide us with an alternate bank details or probably regularize these name differentials at the bank. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ori. I mean, there's a question that just came up here, and I'm like, okay, this would be a good one for you to take. And the person says, how do I confirm the bank account that is tied to my dividend payments with the registrar? So do you want to like take that? How do I confirm that my bank account details is registered with the registrar for dividend payments?
Thank you very much, Sandra. So for us to know that you have your bank details registered with us, you would have been getting the dividend payment. So for instance, if you have your bank details with us, for every dividend payment that is being made, the shareholder will be getting paid.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I have another question here. Please, I think I'm going to just wing this one by. So please, how can I get my account number from Shareholder Live? It depends on the account. Are you trying to ask for your CHN or the account number tied to your dividend payments? If it's the account number, the same thing Ori just said. If it's the CHN, you can always reach out to your broker. But anytime, you can also contact us directly on to our customer experience, and then we can take your questions, and any challenge you have, we resolve it. So I would like to move back to Femi now. Just a quick one. How should shareholders manage the risk of dividend cuts or suspension in their portfolio? This is because there's a question here that says that I think the person is asking about MTN shares. Why did MTN stop paying shares and paying dividend? Sorry. And I mean, this just sparked up that question to say, how should they actually manage this risk? Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, Sandra, thank you. So I say, okay, what I will just say is from what I've mentioned before, I think the magic word here would be for investor to stay diversified. As mentioned earlier, so I'll say diversification is a key strategy. So holding a mix of dividend paying stock across different asset classes or sector will help to mitigate the impact of dividend cuts. So because this means that if one company or sector reduces dividend, the impact on your overall income will be less severe. So another thing that I also want to do in order for you to mitigate the impact of to mitigate the risks of dividend cuts or suspension will also be for you to monitor the financial health of the companies in your portfolio. So like I mentioned before, you do regular assessment of the financial health of the company in your portfolio. Also, you also want to look at the company level of debt or declining revenue. So ordinarily, you will not expect a company with a huge debt, and even if they make profits. I think Augustine also mentioned that the focus will be for them to pay their debt then before considering payment of dividend. So let's say, for example, if a Nigerian company like a bank or manufacturing firm report declining profit for maybe consecutive quarter. So imagine you are expecting dividend, let's say at the end of June, and the company declare declining profit, or maybe have declining earnings. You have maybe from quarter 1, quarter 2. So you would ordinarily you will not be expecting such company to declare dividends. So that may indicate potential trouble ahead for them. So another area that I also want to look at is dividend payout ratio. So I mean, those who are investment experts will always tell you you cannot make use of either just only dividend yield to determine the financial health of a company. So dividend payout is another thing. And Tina also mentioned this, that so check the dividend payout ratio of dividend paying company. So a very high dividend payout ratio could mean that the company is using a huge portion of its dividend of profit to pay dividends. So imagine a company, let's say for instance, made a profit of 100 naira, and the company pays 80 naira as dividends. So you can agree with me that that is not sustainable. So it's good to aim to invest in company with moderate payout ratio. So because this indicates that they retain enough earnings for them to sustain and grow the business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Femi. Thank you. That question was really, I think it's something bordering. That's why people are asking that, but thank you. So there are two questions I will take before I move on to Uri. I think I would need assistance on this, maybe from Agostina, but yeah. The question says, please, where can an investor access dividend growth history of a company? I know these are in the public domain. I mean, when they declare dividend, they say it out. I mean, when MTN wasn't paying, it was in the public. There were publications around it. But is there any other place that they can find this history, Augustina?
Okay, thank you for that question, Sandra. So just like you rightly said, these informations are readily available on the public domain, right? You can get them from the company's website online. Just go online and search for the information that you desire. On the annual reports of these companies, you can also get that information. I think basically these are places you can access these information. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustina. Another person is asking, how do I get access to my unclaimed dividend? Again, go on the shareholder live application. You see your unclaimed dividends there. If you wanna, if any other information you need, any other thing you need to do with it, if you want to reinvest it, if you want it paid, please reach out to us. The self-service feature is also available on the shareholder live app, and you can also utilize this option to do so. So back to you, Jonathan. So should a shareholder have dividend-related issues or need clarity, how best do they contact us at the Coronation Registrar? And I mean, what's the quickest way to get to us?
All right, thank you, Sandra, for that question. Right, we have at least two options you can easily get in touch with us. First off is our phone number, right? We have our phone numbers that will actually be displayed at the end of this webinar. The phone number is 021 2272570. You can easily call our contact center and you get an immediate response. We also have our email address where you send in your inquiries and your requests, which is customercare@coronationregistrars.com. Right. Once you get this, you also, depending on the request you're sending, we'll provide you with the requirements to actually attend to this request. So these are the two quickest way you can actually reach out to us. We also run a 24/7 shift, so you can actually reach out to our contact center as well at any time of your choice for any information or inquiry you wish. Just like Sandra also mentioned, if you want like immediate response, you can use the shareholder live by coronation, right? And immediately check some details you really need to check immediately. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. There's a question here on dematerialization. I think I'll just move this to Ure while I ask this so we can clarify. But it's a bit confusing to some people. And like I said, this series is meant to enable us go granular with our shareholders to, give them insights, educate them on everything around their investments and the path we play. Yeah. So Ore, what is dematerialization? And I mean, how does it affect dividend payment history tracking, as well as shares holding management for any shareholder?
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. So what is dematerialization? That is, it's a process of converting, that's the physical share certificate, right, into an electronic form. So it simply means that all the shares that you bought and they are basically in the physical share certificates, they can be electronically credited into your CSS account. That's what that simply means. But then how does it affect, please can you come again with the second question?
So the second part of the question is, how does it affect dividend? How does it affect dividend payment history and tracking? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So share dematerialization and dividend payment, they're two completely different processes, right? So for share dematerialization, it simply means that I am crediting my shares into my CSS account, while dividend is basically crediting my bank account with the proceeds. That's the dividend accrued on the shares investment. So that's what that second question refers to.
Okay. Thank you so much, Uri. I think this one should go to Augustina. It says, how can I get my share certificates?
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. Share certificates, it's good to know that era of share certificate has been phased out. So if you buy stocks of companies, you may be buying through the public offer or directly from the secondary markets. When you buy from the secondary markets, you would not need a certificate. In the past, when you buy stocks of companies through the public offer, yes, you would need a certificate, but that era has been phased out. So what you would need to do is, if you bought shares in the days of public offer, what you then need to do is to visit the registrar to the company that you have purchased their stock and ask for a dematerialization of your shares. You will be issued the dematerialization form, which you would complete and revert to your stockbrokers, who would complete the rest while liaising with the registrars, such that your shares can be dematerialized and be registered at the CSCS. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustina. That's very, I mean, it's easy. Like Augustina said, it's easy for you to do this, and it's easy for you to just get the share certificate, like she has mentioned. But if you have any further questions or clarity, you need more insights on this, you can contact us anytime. Last for Femi, where can shareholders find information regarding the company? Okay, I think we've taken this before, but I would like for us to highlight the roles that AGMs play in these informations. Getting this information on companies to invest in, and how dividend and shares can reduce, shares and dividend risk can be reduced. Yeah. So can we speak on the part that AGMs play for shareholders attending AGMs, what they need to do there, how important it is to their dividend payments? I'm not going to call on anybody, but anyone can take this one. All right.
Okay, so maybe I will just take some part. Maybe if any of the panelists has additional information to add to that. So I think, well, like you mentioned before, so there are several resources shareholder can use to stay informed and reduce the risk of losing out on their dividend, on their investment. So the first one, or what we say we should also talk about, is the attending of annual general meeting. So for those who will be attending AGM, I say you agree with me that AGM provides a valuable opportunity for you to gain direct insight into a company's performance, also the future strategy of the company, the dividend policy, and you will also have the opportunity for you to ask questions directly from the management. And so and that will give you a deeper understanding of the company financial health and strategy. So I know a lot of persons on this call that have been attending AGM, so that have even done some of this thing that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Thanks, Femi. It's clear that you have to participate in AGM as a shareholder because it is important for you to know what's going on. It's important for you to also have a voice or have a say in what is happening in these companies that you invest in. So I have one question here, and it says, why are unclaimed dividends being mopped up? Like, are they not allowed to? Are they allowed to hold it for? Like, why are they taking back? Why are they going back to the companies that they came from? Is this something that you want to speak to Augustina? Because I mean, people think that they can leave their dividend there for as long as they want to, and it's still there. But if there's a concern about dividends returning to where the companies they came from, I mean, I think that this is a place for it to be addressed. Augustina, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Very interesting question, Sandra. Okay, so it's important to highlight that this question on return of unclaimed dividends is an issue of regulatory compliance, right? So Coronation Registrars Limited would not make any decision regarding the retention or return of unclaimed dividends to companies. The Companies and Allied Matter Act and the recently enacted Business Facilitation Act guide us, Coronation Registrars Limited, on the return of unclaimed dividends. This law actually states that unclaimed dividends after 12 years should be returned to the paying companies. So until advised otherwise, unclaimed dividends would continue to be returned to the paying companies. So you would not have, the law has given you a substantial period of 12 years to claim your dividend. So if after 12 years from the time of declaration and you're not able to claim your dividends, then we would have to comply with the law by returning these unclaimed dividends to the paying companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustina. So it's not the registrar's making to return your dividend. Yeah, again, like we said, aside the regulatory part that Augustina has just explained, if you want to do something else with your dividend, you want to reinvest it, we are here for you. You want to actually claim it and you don't know how to go about it, we're also here to guide and hold you. And someone is asking, please, how do I update my bank details? I think Jonathan has mentioned that you go to the self-service portal. That would also be shared at the end of this session. So please stay tuned so we can actually get to you. So another person is asking, how do I move from one registrar to another? Anyone want to take a stab at this, please?
Okay, let me take that. So when you mean movement from one registrar to the other, I would like to believe the question intended is how do I move from one security, that's brokerage firm, to another? Because you actually do not have the right, or you cannot move from one registrar to the other. You can only, the registrar is responsible for managing shares records for companies that you have bought shares in, right? So, but you have the option of changing your stockbroker. If you are using a stockbroker today and you feel that you need a change, that you want to move to a B stockbroker, then you can do that. All you need to do is to visit your stockbroker, that's your existing stockbroker, and request for what they call intermember transfer. I don't know if I'm correct, but I think that's the word. Then they would initiate that process through the CSCS, and that would be perfectly done. Thank you.
All right. So again, there you have it. The answer to that question was really straight up. So we have a lot of questions, and like I said, we're going to try to take them. It is a lot while we're even answering on the chat. But we'll be taking them as we go. We still have some time to kill. And I mean, this is the panel session. We are here for you. Again, gentle reminder that this session is sponsored by or backed by Shareholder Life. Shareholder Life is an application. I saw a question about Invest Niger, but just to mention that Shareholder Life is an application where you manage your portfolio, and this is to clarify also that you can only access companies that we manage their registers, companies that you've invested in, that we manage their register on the Shareholder Life platform. This is also to address the question of if someone asking moving all their shares, all their investments into the Shareholder Life application. I understand that you're already using the application and you want to move all the investment that you have into it, but you can only do this for companies that we manage their register. So at this point, I would like to go back to Jonathan again, just to, just as a way of giving us, like, giving shareholders here a round of what are your words to them, like, they're currently listening. You've heard their like, will I say, plights, inquiries, challenges, suggestion in the last couple of let's say, years that you've been with Coronation Registrar. What would you like to say to them in the way of your customer experience experience? Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sandra. Basically, I would just like to say that I would like to talk about how Coronation Registrars is helping helping shareholders keep up with technological changes, recognizing the importance of adapting to technological advancements. Coronation Registrars embarked on a significant digitalization journey. Historically, the registrar business has been fairly manual, but here at registrars, we've been committed to changing that, right? As to why we have the Shareholder Life by Coronation, right? That's our flagship. It's a digital product, right? So it's a testament to a commitment and offers shareholders easy access to their portfolio management, right? So dividend history can be checked there. Other essential services can also be checked there as well. At your fingerprint, you can easily get this information, right? So this platform is actually designed to simplify the shareholder experience, making it more transparent and accessible. But in conclusion, we are not stopping there. We are continuously seeking ways to enhance the shareholder life and introduce new digital solutions to shareholders so that, most of these inquiries and questions you are actually asking can actually be resolved real time. Like, again, I've mentioned, if you have further questions and inquiries or informations about your dividends, you can always reach out to us. Our contact center is 247. You can reach out to our contact phone numbers. You can send emails to us, and I assure you that we're going to respond to you in the best of our ability. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Someone is asking, how do I buy more MTN shares? Can anyone take a stab at that?
Okay, thank you, Sandra.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I would like to believe this shareholder has a stockbroker, but if you do not have a stockbroker, you may need to open, or you may need the services of one to be able to buy MTN stocks, because MTN is currently not offering a public offer. So the shares are readily available at the stock exchange, at the secondary market. So you would need a stockbroker to be able to purchase more shares of MTN if you do not have one. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustina. Yeah, we are trying to be faster. I'll take another one. It says, I'm still trying to understand what your role is. Is Coronation a broker? Femi, do you want to take this one? Because you're already fine.
Okay, okay. I will just say simply that Coronation is an ecosystem that is made up of financial services companies. So we have Coronation Registrars Limited, and we also have a Coronation Securities Limited. So that's the stockbroker arm of the ecosystem. So we have Coronation Capital Limited. We also have Coronation Merchant Bank. So Coronation is a group, but we have different verticals under the ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Femi. I know some people have been asking about stockbroker in the chat. We also have Coronation Securities, so yeah. So as we round up, I would just take one last one. All your questions are going to be answered, but I will take one last one before we call it a day. So someone is asking, please can you explain the claim your rights issue adverts popping up on my page? So I would like to explain that. I think you are probably a user of the shareholder live application, and we applaud that. So one of our registrars has actually been we've had rights issues out there, and we are just putting it to you that I think someone was asking how to buy MTN shares. Now we're putting it to you that as a shareholder, you can also get access to the rights issue that was being sold by Access Bank. So nothing. It's just some of the things we offer as on the platform to you, and then there's many more coming. The dividend reinvestment feature, which you can do now. You can actually reach out to us if you want to reinvest your dividend, but there are many more other features coming. So we encourage you to get on the shareholder live. That's the way of information. There's a lot of things that will be coming on there, just the way you saw the banner to purchase the Access Bank rights. You'll be seeing a lot of other things ongoing, a lot of activities happening there. And just like the question that someone asked about getting information about these companies, about getting information from us, Coronation registrars, you would also be able to find them on the application when you get on board. So as we round off in this session, I just want to appreciate the panelists for taking time to answer questions and giving us insights. I want to appreciate the keynote speaker for the wonderful and amazing session that we just had. And all your questions, I believe, have been addressed. This webinar is also on YouTube. Oh, at this point, I would like to appreciate everyone also joining us on YouTube. And I hope that you've gotten the experience, you're getting this experience just like we are having it here firsthand. So while we'll be rounding up now because of time, your questions will still be responded to in the chat, and you can contact us anytime if you have further queries at customercare@coronationregistrars.com, or you can call us on 020-122-72570. We deeply appreciate you joining us for this first episode of the Shareholders Engagement Series, sponsored by Shareholder Live, your go-to platform as our honorable investors. Available on mobile, you can download it on the Apple Store for iPhone users and on the Google Play Store for Android users. You can also access the platform via web on shareholderlive.coronationregistrars.com. So, at this point, in closing, let's invite Mobolaji Odumosu, our Chief Technology Officer, to give us the closing remarks, please.
Thank you very much, Sandra. A very good afternoon, our esteemed shareholders. I am Mobolaji Odumosu, Chief Technology Officer at Coronation Registrars Limited. As we conclude this maiden and enlightening webinar series sponsored by Shareholder Live, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for joining us today to discuss the role of dividends in your portfolio. Your active participation and thoughtful contributions have made this session valuable learning experience for all participants, and I hope it was a good use of your time. I understand we may not have been able to answer all the burning questions in your mind, but we promise to do so by posting them as FAQs on our website and sharing them with you via email. I'd like to extend my gratitude to my colleagues and distinguished speakers. Augustina will be our Head of Registrar Services. Oreoluwa Oniloye, our Team Lead of Central Processing Center. Femi Oni, our Team Lead in the Risk and Internal Control Unit. And Jonathan Ebel, Team Lead Investor Services. Your wealth of knowledge and experience have enriched the discussions and deepened our understanding of the tangible benefits dividends offer in wealth creation. My thanks also goes to my colleague, our moderator, Sandra Igagaremo, our head of innovations, who ensured that these sessions remained engaging, informative, and productive. Lastly, I would like to thank Olurotimi Aleshinoye, the Managing Director and CEO of Coronation Registrars Limited, for his opening address that set the tone and context for this event. As part of our promise to provide world-class technology solutions to our stakeholders, I would like to once again inform you of a digital platform we have provided to all of our shareholders to manage their portfolio, which also includes the history of your dividend payments. It's called Shareholder Life, as you must have heard several times in this webinar. And it can be accessed at shareholderlife.coronationregistrars.com, or you could just do a search on Google, Shareholder Life by Coronation, and the first prompt it will give you is a link to that website. I've seen several questions around how do I manage my portfolio, how do I track my dividend payments, etc. Shareholder Life is your go-to platform. And so I'll encourage you to get on board this platform using the registered email address in your record with us. Once again, thank you so much for your participation. We look forward to subsequent sessions of learning and collaboration in the future. Enjoy the rest of your day and do have a restful weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thanks once again to everyone who joined us on Zoom and here on Zoom and on YouTube. Don't forget to register on Shareholder Life today if you haven't done so, and do enjoy the rest of your day.